I had some of her last night, and it was quite spectacular. German? With all the sauerkraut they eat? I've heard their blood tastes too acidic, Delia said. How about an aged, full-bodied African-American? We have one in the back with the lowest count of white blood cells I have ever tasted. He kissed his fingers. It's sublime. That sounds great, Kieran said. I haven't had any African-American for a very long time. Sounds good enough to sweeten the wait. Delia nodded. Yes, let's do that. Chapter 2. She was rolled in. Alice blinked her eyes as the ceiling rushed by above her. She felt dizzy and had no idea where she was. She tried to sit up but couldn't move. Her body was strapped down and all she could move were her fingers. Above her, she spotted the face of a man in a white shirt and bow tie. He seemed to be the only one who was pushing her across the room. The lights above blinded her as she was rushed forward. What's going on? Am I in the hospital? Alice tried to say something. She wanted to ask the man where she was and where he was taking her, but she couldn't speak. She couldn't even move her lips. Hello? Panic erupted inside of her as no words left her mouth. She tried to remember what had happened to her, and little by little, it came back. She had been standing in her kitchen in London, eating her soup when it happened. She had recently been discharged from the hospital after a car accident, and was still not back at work because of the concussion. She had been lucky, they said, but she didn't really feel very lucky. She had been thinking about the accident when she heard them drive up into her street outside her window. A white van came flying down with the door wide open, and two men jumped out. Alice stared at them, wondering what was going on as they approached her building and soon knocked on her door. Alice Hart, they said. She peeked at them through the peephole, then realized one of them was her doctor from the hospital. She hadn't recognized him at first, since he wasn't wearing his white coat, but it was definitely him. So she opened the door. Of course she did. He might have something important to tell her, right? Dr. Evans, is something wrong? The doctor smiled an odd smile, and the man with him placed a hood over her head, and that was the last thing she remembered. The rolling stopped, and now she was staring at the ceiling. It certainly didn't look like any hospital, and the stretcher she was lying on didn't feel like any stretcher she had been on before. She turned her head slightly and looked around. She saw many faces. People were sitting at tables, dining and chatting, laughing. There was the sound of soft piano music in the air. Am I in a restaurant? What am I doing in a restaurant? Hands were on her body and straps were loosened, and then she was helped to sit up. A couple, a gorgeous couple, sitting at a table, looked at her in admiration. The woman clasped her hands. "Resus null," the waiter said, presenting her. Alice wrinkled her forehead as the couple started clapping and the entire room chimed in. The woman in front of her couldn't take her eyes off her. "And she's not sedated," the man said, "or persuaded?" The waiter shook his head. "Non, monsieur. We do not use that here. Spoils the experience, in my opinion. We only added a hint of persuasion directed at the part of the brain that controls her vocal cords, just to make sure she doesn't complain and ruin the enjoyment of the feast." The waiter bowed. "Bon appétit." "Excellent," the man said. He looked at his wife. "You go first, my love." What the heck is this? Everything was screaming inside of Alice, and she tried as hard as she could to vocalize it, but she couldn't. No matter how much she opened her mouth or tried to force the words out, she couldn't speak or even scream. What is this place? Who are these people, and why are they looking at me in that way? What's happening to their faces, to their eyes, and to their teeth? Oh, dear God, have mercy on me. Chapter 3. It was painful, but Alice couldn't scream. Instead, she squirmed in pain while the woman's teeth penetrated her skin so deeply it felt almost impossible. Alice felt sweat spring to her forehead as the blood was sucked out of her. She whimpered on the inside and screamed for help, but little did it help. Soon, a sort of daze enveloped her, and she felt herself grow weaker. Her surroundings turned gray and hazy. Next, she felt disoriented, and it was like the room around her was spinning. She found that she couldn't even try and resist anymore. She could do nothing but let it happen.